Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Cody, hit
Welcome to
us
the TD
live.
Report. Yeah, Cody's got us live. Welcome
Are
to the
we
TD
live
Report.
now?
We are live, sir. Yep,
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were live. Okay.
we are live.
Yeah.
Thank you for not swearing, Tony. We are
Oh
live
man.
here on the TD Report. I'm your host, David Combs, here with Tony Kennedy.
Oh, I didn't know. Hey, Dave.
Tony Kennedy to my right.
Okay. I
Uh,
didn't see the
we're about to
live.
have our guest on. We're going to have Josh Page on. We're going to talk Hall of Fame, talk about his granddad, Herb Adderley, Hall of Famer for the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. Tony, how you
You sure we
feeling, man? You
live,
gonna be?
Dave?
What's that?
I didn't see us live.
We are. It's in the upper left hand corner.
Oh, okay. All
Josh
right.
Page is in the building. What's up,
What's
buddy?
going on? What's going on? What's
What's
going
going
on?
on, man?
What's
Everyone,
up?
we want to introduce you to our guest, special guest today, Josh Page, local guy done good. He is a 2017 Rock Creek Christian graduate. He's got one semester to go, man. St. Augustine's.
One semester.
Uh, Played a little ball in college. I
Yep.
seen a lot of your tape, man. You was nice with it, buddy.
Yeah, I
One
appreciate
semester
that.
left, and
Appreciate
I
that.
know you're excited about that, getting yourself out of college.
For sure.
Tell me a
For
little bit
sure.
about the journey. Tell me about the journey.
The journey been tough, man. I don't really talk about it too much, but it started at the Mather. Well, going back to middle school, really, like when I was really competitive with playing basketball. I won a championship my 8th grade year, getting ready to go into high school. So I had quite a little bit of buzz around my name coming out of the area. I went to Allisdale Middle School. Um, I was really supposed to end up at Wilson High School.
Okay.
The coaching staff really wanted me to come over there, but I've been going to DeMatha basketball camps like my whole life growing up when I was a little kid playing. So that really caught my eye, and seeing everybody who done came out of DeMatha with the Quinn Cooks, the Victor Oladipos, the Grant brothers. So it was hard not to go to the matter, if you know what I'm saying. So the matter was pretty good. I played with Markel Fultz. He plays with the Orlando Magic now. Uh we play AAU together. We basically grew up together. It's one of my good friends still to this day. Uh but I ended up breaking my leg. I broke my tibia bone in my right knee, and that kind of like push 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 basketball back a little bit, because I was getting like uh I was going through a tough time, man. Depression, new name, like going through a lot of stuff mentally. Uh, I ended up transferring schools and reclassing and doing an extra year of high school. I ended up at Rock Creek, like you said. Um, After that, I ended up at Lincoln, but it was tough, man. My high school team, we were like my senior year, we were one of the best teams, not only in the area but in the nation. We played the Oak Hills, we played the
You did. You
Mount
played
West.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, we at one point we were ranked, I want to say like top 25 in the nation at one
Hmm.
point. And we had guys like Sharif Kenny, Earl Timberlake, all those guys are playing D1 basketball right now. And yeah, that's probably one of the best teams I played with. But coming out of Rock Creek, it was kind of tough though, because not being well, I was one of those key factors on that team, but it was like I wasn't in the area. I wasn't like known as one of those like key guys, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
with being on a successful team, I ended up getting a whole bunch of like prep school looks and stuff like that, JUCO looks, and I didn't want to go to JUCO. So I talked it over with my parents, and I ended up at Lincoln, but it was weird because the Lincoln happened. I want to say in July, like it was late. I got
It was
offered.
late. Yeah, I remember that. I
I
remember.
got
Yeah.
I got offered, and that was my only offer at the time was Lincoln University. I was getting interest from a whole number of schools, but they never like offered me, like George Mason. Um, it was a couple more schools that I can't really think about right now, but yeah. And then Lincoln was cool. But in life, man, you're gonna go through trials and tribulations all the time. So
Sure.
Lincoln, the coach that recruited me ended up getting fired. So that was pretty much the reason why I left, and I had to come back home, take a year off, just focus on school.
Okay.
Ended up going to Montgomery College, and then after that, I got offered by Coach Johnson at St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm still there right now, and I'm just trying to finish up school and hopefully just play my last year of college basketball. So
Okay. Well, we're going to be rooting for you on the show, and I'm sure your dad's going to make sure we get some stats from you. But you're always welcome. And by the way, everyone, we had Josh's lovely sister Justice come on the show. You're a mass communications major, right?
Yeah, mass communications. I want to do like broadcasting, journalism, but on the side of like digital side. So like stuff like videography, photography, and I want to stay in the sports field with it. So
yeah, that's the cutting edge. That's good stuff.
For sure.
So the reason we got Josh on the show, not just because he's a local guy, because we love giving love to the locals, Tony, but this young man has got bloodlines, man. Herb Adderley is your grandfather, man. And I just wanted to say, I hate to be a fanboy here. My father was a big fan of your granddad. I mean, my dad is a guy from Texas. So during his era, he couldn't root for Texas because in his time, black players weren't going to Texas. Okay. Right. But they were going to Michigan because of people like your dad. They were going to Michigan State.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Your dad was at Michigan State, like in the late 1950s to like 1960, 61 in there. And he was one of the founding members of Omega Psi Phi. And as I recall, your father's an Omega, isn't he?
Yeah. And myself, I'm recently a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity incorporated too.
A legacy. That's amazing. Yes, congratulations. Yes,
now
that I didn't know.
Dave, he said the whole thing. He said incorporated.
Yes, he did.
Hey, but what he ain't gonna tell you is that he took the first party, the first Hall of Fame party they ever had, where they put everybody in the room, and they got the nerve to put on George Clinton.
They put on the Atomic Dog
and wore the Atomic Dog.
Oh,
they
no!
Threw that thing on, and Josh went all up in the room. We're gonna put that tape on one day.
I might have to see that one.
He had all the gold jackets coming up to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Josh,
he went off.
I didn't know your grandfather, but I know your dad, and I know he is just about to burst about how proud he is that you crossed over, man. That's amazing. That's some great stuff.
Ever since I crossed, man, he's been proud. He pretty much knew that it wasn't going to be anything else if I wanted to join a fraternity. So, yeah,
that's amazing.
I just wanted to make him and my grandfather proud, and I think I did that. So,
oh no, there's no question.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I had a quote here that I wanted to share with you. I'm sure you've got it, you know it, because Herb is your granddad. But it scares me to think of how I almost mishandled him as a player, and that's from Vince Lombardi. That's a direct quote.
Yeah.
Your dad was a great halfback, a great athlete coming out of high school. It's a 3-sport star up in Philly, right?
And most people don't know that. Most people don't know that he played running back before getting converted over to cornerback in the league. People thought that he played cornerback at Michigan State too, but nah, he started as a running back, high school, college. So yeah.
And then obviously coming to Green Bay, 1960s, they already had Jim Taylor. They already had Paul Hornung.
Right.
So Vince Lombardi, and the trophy wasn't even named for Lombardi yet, but we didn't know him as the genius that we know him to be now, the innovator that he was. He made that switch to get his best athletes onto the field by any means necessary. Found a spot for Herb to play, your granddad, and he moved him over to corner permanently in like 1962.
Yeah.
Now,
if I'm not mistaken, I think the cornerback that they had that year ended up getting hurt or something, and they needed my grandfather to step in. So with him being one of the best athletes that wasn't going to play at running back. You know what I'm saying? I think
Well,
Lombardi was just like, hey, just go ahead and see what you can do at corner. And I think he took it.
It's like something out of a Disney movie. Hey man, just put we need, our starting corner's hurt. Put Herb in.
Yeah.
And your granddad made an interception that game, by the way. I had to look that one up.
Yeah.
The game winner. So,
In what game?
What's that?
Which game?
In one of the first
that was the first game he played at corner. He was a replacement. He wasn't starting that game. The starter got hurt. So they put Herb in, and Herb made the game-winning interception.
What I don't think people understand.
I think it was against Detroit.
Herb was undefeated in playoffs with Vince Lombardi. Herb was 9-0. Vince Lombardi went 9-1 in playoffs. But with Herb Adderley on the team, he was 9-0. His first playoff loss was Super Bowl V, and they only lost that game because Dallas' offense was horrific. It was so bad that Herb's teammate won the MVP of the game, and they lost, and he was a defensive player. It was the only time a defensive player on a losing team has ever won the MVP.
Now, Josh, you knew your granddad, so I don't know if this quote is true, but he said he's the only Cowboy Super Bowl winner that don't wear the Cowboy ring. He said he's a Green Bay Packer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't want to say he hated Dallas, but it was.
Hey, Josh, be real.
You're breaking Tony's heart. You're breaking Tony's heart.
Be real, Josh. No, he breaking my heart because.
But look though, because I'm a Cowboys fan too.
What?
I am too.
No, I'm a Cowboys fan too. And we always used to talk, and he would especially I remember when Dez Bryant had that one catch and the refs called it a no catch.
Oh yeah.
Me and my grandfather was going back and forth that whole game because of course he was rooting for Green Bay and I was going for Dallas, but we was talking the whole game, and up until he passed away, that was one of our main go-to stories to talk about. Of what if, because that was Dallas. That was a big year for Dallas. I think most people say Dallas would have went on and won the Super Bowl that year.
That was one of their best teams. That was one of their best teams. And it speaks to the fact that we're talking about your grandfather all these years after he played. Now, Tony, he was in the Hall of Fame in 1980, something like that. Is that right? 1980. So it's been a solid 40 years since your granddad played football, but people still remember him. Okay. And people remember the legacy of what he meant to the game. Now, Tony played ball. He played college football. He played pro ball. I did not. Obviously, if this were Mike and Mike, I'd be little Mike and he'd be big Mike because Mike played pro ball. So I don't know nothing about football. I ain't never been smacked in the mouth, right? Yeah. So my point is that the way that your father played, how he played, and the era that he played in, for someone like me who's a history major, it's so important to me, is that Michigan State was that underground railroad for that talent to get into big time college football, where you've got the Herb Adderleys of the world, you've got the Bubba Smiths of the world. And in a production, I sent over to the guys that were all on the text, I sent over pictures of Bubba Smith in college, and he's massive. I mean, he's literally head and shoulders bigger than everybody, and this was Michigan State. Yeah. I mean, these weren't little dudes, and he was big. Looks like we got another guest coming on the show.
Oh, no, we don't. Turn your camera on, please.
Turn your camera on, please.
That is my girl. That is my girl. That is his grandma. That is my girl now. Now we really, oh man, she come on here, we gonna be going off.
And the Adderley family, obviously, and the Page family are big fans of our show, and we are big fans of that family. Barbara, are you there?
I don't know how I got on here. I'm just listening. That's all I want to know.
Oh no, we want to see you. You can't hide. This is a podcast, not a radio cast.
You know, again, I don't know if you heard the early part of the show, Mrs. Adderley. My father was a big fan of Herb, big fan, and talked about his memories of watching, you know, just in really enjoying the sport. And you know, Herb was a big part of that history. You know.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
And
And your dad was from Dallas, or he's just from Texas?
my dad's from San Antonio, so he was a Cowboy fan, and he would just be heartbroken today after the debacle that was last night. But he was a big fan of Herb. You know, I just remember as a kid watching Super Bowls, and it turns out I've been watching Herb all along. So yes, it's pretty cool to see the old NFL films and, you know, see these great players and see her be a part of that, you know, and just, you know, for guys me and Tony's age, that's what we see the old NFL films. You know, we were, you know, basically, you know, NFL films are just some memories of some of the older Super Bowls, but we can't remember all of them. Tony might, big Tony might.
Miss Adderley?
Barbara,
can you please tell everybody where you were on December 31st, 1967? Please tell us what happened.
I was in the stands in Green Bay.
And what game was that?
Oh, that was Dallas and Green Bay.
In the
Ice Bowl?
In the Ice
Tell
Bowl.
us what you were wearing that they would never allow 50 years later.
Oh my God. Well, I tell you, Sheila Wood, who was Willie Wood's wife, and I, we were good friends, and we were sitting next to each other. But we had on, we were in sleeping bags. We had plastic bags around our feet. It was cold, and a fur coat. But when I looked around, I saw men with icicles on their mustaches and eyebrows. I couldn't believe it was so cold.
I would have never made it.
And can you tell us the biggest thing about that?
Oh, about
you were what? How many months pregnant?
And that was the first time Herb saw me up in the stands. I jumped up to cheer, and he looked up and saw me and told me to sit down. He pointed, sit down.
Wow. So you went to you were at the Ice Bowl.
I was at the Ice Bowl, yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing.
7 months pregnant, Dave.
And pregnant. That's wild.
7 months. His mom was born 2 months later.
No kidding. That obviously that's a legendary. You know, that's a legendary game. I mean, anytime they show an opening splash of NFL, they're using footage from that game. You know, showing the guys line up on the goal line, and you know it's so cold, the breath, you can see it. It's amazing that you know, I've never met anyone that actually was at the game, right? So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. You know, it's first for me.
I can tell you something, one thing more amazing, and then I'm going to shut up. When it was time to leave to go to the game, Willie Davis lived up the street from us, and he and Herb would go to the game together all the time. And they came out to leave, and Willie Davis's car wouldn't start. It was so cold. And so then Herb tried to start his car. It wouldn't start. And do you know, here two guys getting ready to play in a big game had to go down and thumb a ride to Lambeau Field.
They had to hitch.
They had to hitch.
Wow. Now, Green Bay is one of the more interesting markets in all of pro football, all of pro sports. Living in Green Bay is said to be just different than almost anywhere else. You've had an opportunity to live in. You lived in Dallas? You lived in Green Bay, right?
Barb?
Barb?
I'm still here.
Okay. So you got to live in Dallas, and you also got to live in Green Bay.
Yes.
What makes Green Bay special? Because Dallas is looked at as this great city to live in if you're an athlete, especially pro football. What makes Green Bay so different? What makes Green Bay special?
What made Green Bay special? I guess the camaraderie with the wives and the guys, who were extremely nice, because Lombardi didn't take anything from anybody, the players or the wives. And
you went out.
We lost her for a second. That's all right. We can get her back. We'll get her back. So I'll go to Josh here. Josh, we wanted to also talk about you getting a chance to not only get to the Hall of Fame and be part of the Hall of Fame ceremonies and festivities. But recently, you got a chance to go up to East Lansing for your grandfather being inducted to the Michigan State Hall of Fame. We want to congratulate you and the family on that. And listen, your dad put up some pictures. There were some dignitaries there, man. It looked like Michigan State brought out all the Spartans for you guys.
Oh man, yeah, it was amazing, really. The whole experience was crazy. Just well, because Draymond went in, so everybody was like looking forward to seeing him, but everybody in that class was legendary. Like looking at their stats and that they put up on the boards and stuff like that. I think it was a women's basketball player that also went in. I think Kalisha, I forgot her last name, it was Kalisha something, but she had a great story. She's from Canada, and she just talks about how many people like doubted her, and she didn't make it to the WNBA, and that was her ultimate dream. But like now she's one of the lead assistants at Dayton. So it was just stories. All the stories were great stories. I think it was a good class. Yeah, the whole weekend was special, man. They really set it out.
So I saw you got a picture. I think that was with Mateen Cleaves, right?
Yeah,
From the national championship team.
Yeah, it's
one of the Flintstones. That's great stuff, man. Tell us about what I want to know is this. How do they treat you when you get there? I mean, are they, when you walking into the building, I mean, are you getting a guided tour? They got, somebody with you to kind of walk you around or show you to your seats. Just tell me about the good stuff about it. Tell us, did they give you a swag bag? I mean, I've never been to one of these.
I mean, after going to Canton and getting that experience with the NFL Hall of Fame, I already kind of had a feeling of what was going to happen. So we got down there on Thursday at East Lansing. We got down there Thursday, checked into the hotel. They gave us like gift bags and things of that nature. And we got a chance to tour the campus. We got a chance to see like all the new buildings and stuff that they're building on campus. Friday was the ceremony, the induction and everything. And Saturday was the game. We got a chance. We sat in the AD's box.
Wow.
Yeah, we got a chance to get on the field and like interact with the fans. At halftime, they announced us. We had to walk out to the 50-yard line in the middle of the field, and everybody got acknowledged. I think that was pretty cool too. So yeah, I mean the whole weekend it was great, man. It was really great. I just wish he was still here to accept all of this and really acknowledge all of this.
Barbara, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back, but I'm enjoying listening to Josh talk.
Oh yeah, just to see, I just want to see the VIP treatment that the family received. I think that's excellent. Love to see that, and definitely the one thing that I picked up from just some of the pictures was that family environment. Just embracing the family. At Michigan State, it seemed very genuine on Michigan State's part.
Yeah, it was, and also to add, like, even when talking to Draymond, like, he was real cool. Like, some people might not think, like, with Draymond being the guy he is in the league, with all like the technical fouls and things of that nature, but like even my mom, I'm gonna call her out. Like, she was like, she had kind of a bad vibe about him just because of the perspective that's behind his name,
Yeah.
But like you get a chance to really know people, and they regular people at the end of the day. Like Draymond, I got a chance to have a couple conversations with him and actually go to a party with him like after later that night. But one of the conversations I was having with him, he was like, man, this is crazy. Like, he will cherish this class, not only like his family, but like everybody in this class that he's going into being inducted with, he'll cherish and he'll remember for the rest of his life. And I just thought that was special, man. Like, and he's a Hall of Famer, like NBA Hall of Famer, and he's saying stuff like that, So it was just good to actually like get that experience and have those conversations with legends. Yeah.
Wow. And since this is the show, mainly about Herb Adderley, Tony, You know all the trivia. You know all of it. Let me make sure I have this right. Herb Adderley, first man to score a touchdown off of an interception in a Super Bowl.
First
Is that
defensive
right?
touchdown. Yep.
First interception for a touchdown, right?
Yep. First defensive touchdown in the Super Bowl. Yep.
7 INTs returned for a touchdown in his career for the Packers. And well, when he retired, it was broken, I think, by Charles Woodson. It's pretty good. That's pretty good company.
Yep.
Still holds the team record for interceptions returned in a season. He had 3.
Wow.
In a season. So it almost seemed that wherever you put him, whether it was returns in the defensive backfield, he was a threat to score if he touched the ball. I think he was averaging for his career like 20 yards per interception return. That's a lot of yards on an interception return.
Yeah, I don't think people understand. Barbara made me kind of understood. Josh, I met your granddad only on the phone, but he sent me a picture because I was picking his brain. Yeah. What most of your family don't know, Josh, he played his last game on December 31st, 1972, right around the corner from where you live at RFK. He ended at the NFC Championship when they lost. But what Herb told me about that game, when I look back on it, he said had he been in the game, he would have been playing in another Super Bowl because the Redskins wouldn't have scored the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They scored the 2 touchdowns on Mark Washington, who shouldn't have been in the game for Herb.
Right.
What people don't know is they played the first 6 Super Bowls. Herb played in 4 of them.
Exactly.
Yep. It's like him and Tom Brady. It's like him and Tom Brady have been like the only players to do that, right? Something like 6. It's at least 6.
Yeah, he played in the first 4 out of 6. And technically, if it wasn't for one bumble play, he would be undefeated in Super Bowls. I mean, that tip to Mackey that they caught and they ran all the way back, but Dallas still had the game won. But what's funny is Barb told me that they were partying afterwards, and Herb was like, "No, I'm not ready to party," basically telling them, "You guys are losers." And then the next year they came back and won. But it took a winner like that. You never underestimate the heart of a champion, person to win. And Dallas needs to recognize that. He's the reason, one of the main reasons why they end up winning next year, because the next year they were starting Staubach, they were starting Morton, they were going back and forth. But somebody like Herb Adderley, who had the rings on his finger, was probably the guy that made them, settle the team down and allowed them to go. But it's those things in history people don't talk about that. And
no, they're not going to. Yeah, they're not. And they're not going to
make sure that people like Josh, I get as much information as I can from Barbara, and that you pass this history down. Because see, when they talk about corners, Josh, and they talking about shutdown corners, your family needs to coin the phrase the original shutdown corner.
Yeah.
That needs to be his name. When you say Herb Adderley, you need to put the original shutdown corner. Because nobody else can say it. It didn't start with Deion.
That's what most people say. Deion, they just automatically go to Deion because that's what they saw. Those were the TV days. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So without media, of course, ain't nobody really gonna know about prime media. So it was something else interesting that caught my eye this weekend too. Cleves, I forgot his name. Mateen. I forgot it. He used to
Mateen Cleves?
Yep. He actually came up to us and he was like, man, he didn't know like how special my grandfather was. And like that goes back to what y'all was just talking about. People just didn't know. But when they go back and watch the film or they look up the stats, it's like, wow, like dude was really a bad dude. So it's like the media really does play a factor in people's opinion.
Well, when you sit down and you talk about guys that are shut down corners, obviously you've got to put Herb Adderley in there. You put in the guys of today or the guys of yesteryear, like a Deion Sanders, maybe a Champ Bailey, and then you get to the Darrelle Revises of the world and everything. But when you look at, you know, what your what your grandfather reminds me of a lot of is somebody like a Champ Bailey, in that Champ was such a good athlete all around and could play a lot of different positions. I remember seeing, you know, Champ Bailey in a bowl game. You know, he was returning kicks. He was, you know, obviously in the defensive backfield. They played him at wide receiver. Hines Ward was, I think Hines Ward was the quarterback that year. I mean, that team was loaded. I mean, you just got those two guys. If you have those two guys, Hall of Fame guys in a college scenario, but they have those different skills where they can play different positions. And Hines Ward, he might have taken some snaps at quarterback as a pro, but he was a wide receiver all the way. And obviously, he has a gold jacket. You know, pretty good stuff. Not yet, but he'll get one. He'll get in. He's got the resume, Tony. I mean, that's something we're gonna have to argue about on the text. You know, we get on the text chain tomorrow. You know, people are gonna start arguing with me about who's gonna make the Hall, who isn't. But Josh, that's pretty much our world, man. That's pretty much what we do all day. It's our production meeting. We argue with each other about sports. Yeah, and that's the show. We want to thank you for being on, but stick around with us real quick. Because for sure. As a Cowboy fan, you know, I'm gonna have to get on you a little bit. I'm gonna have to get on you a little bit.
This is gonna be tough, man.
So I got you. As we segue into today, now that Tony has put his head down, Tony don't want to talk about it.
Hey Tony, we gonna be all right, man.
Listen, it was opening weekend. Opening weekend in the NFL. It's for us, Josh, on the show. That's like Christmas. This is our Christmas right here. We've gone all summer, you know, since the Super Bowl, all through the summer, and we can't really talk about games. We can only talk about what a coach might put on the field. Yesterday, everybody was playing except for the Rams and the Bills, but everybody was playing, and I just like switching back and forth between games. That first weekend of the season, that's all I'm doing is switching back and forth. And then I settled down to catch the Cowboy game, and I said to myself, something doesn't look right. Something wasn't right. And as the game progressed, it just got worse and worse. So
it was a lot that wasn't looking right. But
let's set the stage. In my opinion, if Dak is out 6 weeks, the Cowboys win how many games in that 6 weeks? How many games can you guys?
I gotta pull up the schedule, man. That's tough to say just right now, but without Dak, it's definitely gonna be tough because we already struggling with receivers. O-line is hurt, so it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, very tough.
Hey, Tony, what's Dallas's favorite cereal gonna be this next 6 weeks? Nothing, honey. Y'all gonna lose them all. Nah, y'all gonna lose them all, buddy. I'm sorry.
Hey, when he say Christmas, it's the haters' Christmas.
It's the haters' Christmas. That's right. Play the music. Hate.
It's the haters' Christmas.
Dallas,
y'all need to stop this crap.
When Dallas is bad, okay, more haters come out and they watch NFL football. When Dallas is good, all the Dallas fans come out. In the end, Roger Goodell gets his money. In the end, all the other owners get their money. But Dallas right now is in a really tough spot. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the NFC East. I picked Philadelphia to win the NFC East this year. And now with Dak Prescott hurt for 4 to 6 weeks, I think that opens the door for even the Washington Commanders to make a move. Tony, what are your thoughts on that? How close was I? Because I think Philly might have a good team this year.
Listen. Philadelphia has a good team. They do. They have a good team. I told you that before. I think Washington has an okay team. Okay. I think the Giants is going to be the ones who you have to worry about because of the style of play. And technically, they got the best running back in the NFC East. Maybe
no
the
question.
Best running back in the NFC.
So, if he stays healthy.
Now,
I mean,
he looked good open today.
Now, what people not have to worry about is, look, I'm a realist. With Dallas, Jerry's GM, he's messing up a little bit. But Dallas' schedule isn't that difficult. Cooper Rush isn't that bad.
He bad, man. He bad.
He's terrible.
I would trade for Huntley. I would trade Zeke for Huntley and get us a backup quarterback. That's me.
You trade who?
Huntley will
Zeke
start.
gotta go.
No,
That
Huntley will
contract
start.
gotta go. They need a running game. The
Tony,
Ravens don't have no running backs. Let them
Tony,
take Zeke.
We can't
Zeke will
get
go
rid of
perfect
Zeke.
with them.
Tony,
We gonna have to rely on Zeke without
Tony,
no passing game right now.
Josh,
On Zeke.
Josh.
Relying on Zeke.
As soon, listen,
Not gonna be able to throw
Tony,
the ball.
as soon as Huntley knows where the bathroom is at Jerry World, he's your starter. He's better than anything you have on the roster right now that's able to play.
Yeah, he's better than all the rest of these bums.
He's better than Rush.
But listen, Cooper Rush, I'm gonna give him a pass. He did go and win a big game on Halloween last year against
He did.
Minnesota.
He did.
Now,
He
until
looked good.
he messes
I will
up,
say that. He did look good. He looked good.
He looked
Until
he messes up, then I will get on him. But what I'm saying is Dallas is basically a structural thing. It's management. It's not this, it's not that. It's management because you didn't upgrade. They
100%.
They did get an offensive lineman. They did first round because they knew that something was going to happen. But the biggest move that Dallas made in the offseason, which they shouldn't have made, was get rid of the other Cooper. They shouldn't have got rid of my man.
Amari Cooper, yeah.
They
Amari
shouldn't have got rid of Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
So that's a bad move. And by the way, Amari Cooper made the big catch yesterday, Josh, to get him in field goal range to kick the winning field goal.
To get that dub.
What did I tell you about Amari Cooper? All he does is make first downs and big catches.
Yes, he is.
Route runners in the league.
And that's how he's been since he got in the league. You're right.
Yeah,
he's polished route runner. And, and a lot of people don't understand this, is a polished route runner is a quarterback's best friend because now I know where he's going to be. Now I don't have to throw to a man. I can throw to an area because we worked on this. He got the right amount of depth on this particular route, this route concept. Mm-hmm. If I get the football out on time, there won't be a defensive back there because he's going to shield the defensive back from the football. Defensive back would have to come through him to get the ball. He's got the hands. He makes my catch, gets on the ground. I got my first down, and we roll forward. Dallas doesn't have that. Dallas doesn't have that guy right now because CeeDee Lamb. I think there's a maturity issue and a development issue with CeeDee Lamb, and it's not his fault. It's only his third year in the league.
Well, we don't have our receivers.
That's correct. No, that's correct. You've got the injuries. Yeah, I know that.
We got the injuries to our receivers. But you know what? No excuses.
None.
I don't want to hear crap.
Yeah. You're not paying with monopoly money. You paying with real money, so you need to get the results.
Yeah.
Hey, dog.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Washington Commanders, who opened up the season. Let's be honest. They opened up the season in style. They got a W. That's all that matters. They got a W. Was it pretty? No, listen. Was it pretty? No, not always. But they got the W.
Dave, you and these Raven fans need to stop. Y'all beat the Jets and the Jaguars. Y'all acting like y'all beat the Chiefs and the Rams. Y'all beat the Jets and the Jaguars. They was number 1 and number 2 picks.
I get it. Listen.
Those were the worst teams.
Listen.
The Jets, the Jaguars, and the Jets. Jets, Jaguars. However you want to cover it.
This game to me was a story of two quarterbacks. Okay. You had the disaster season last year that Trevor Lawrence had to endure but that was because of coaching. Okay. Mm-hmm. You go out and you get a Super Bowl winning coach, an actual salient professional coach to work with Trevor Lawrence to try to get him to the point where he can lead your team. Okay. He wasn't that bad. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, this is Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. Okay. Because he wasn't coached last year. What happened with him last year was BS. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, started out pretty good and then hit a lull where he threw the 2 interceptions. Okay. The first interception, I thought, on the screen pass on the inside screen, that was a great play. Whoever number 44 is for Jacksonville, that dude came out of nowhere. Okay. And made this play that was a great play. Am I wrong on the football? Defensive linemen and linebackers do not make that play. They usually would drop that ball. That was a great play. That said, Wentz dropped a couple of dimes. Okay, definitely dropped one over the top to Terry McLaurin, and obviously the throw to Dotson. This guy's going to be okay. All you guys got to do for Washington is protect him. Now, let's talk about the Steelers. Tony, what happened to your nephew? What was Joe Burrow doing?
Oh, what was Joe Burrow doing?
Yeah.
Is he lost his second receiver. When they bracket your number one receiver, it's the same thing. He was a CD Lamb of the bunch. Dude, in the NFL, let me get it straight. Your number one receiver can be bracketed. So folks who don't know what that means there's going to be a corner and a safety over top on every route combination. They call it a bracket. You might want to, in your terms, just calling it double team. But they will bracket that dude all the way around. And Joe Burrow, from what I was looking at the tape today, he wasn't reading up to 3 like he normally did because he had pressure on him. But here's the thing, bad news for Pittsburgh. Joe Burrow started completing passes when TJ Watt went out. Why? Because he got more time. So Pittsburgh, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, TJ Watt, it says he's going to be out for a month, 4 weeks. So you're going to be without one of the NFL's biggest sack masters, as well as one of its overall best defensive players, a defensive player of the year type candidate every year. TJ Watt is amazing. Yeah. Now he's got a torn biceps, Tony?
Yeah. Muscle or something.
That's supposed to be an 8-week injury. I mean, it's usually like an 8-week injury, and it usually depends on where on the bicep the injury occurs, whether it's in the middle or towards the bone or where it happens, as far as how long your prognosis is going to be. But for a defensive player that basically plays most of his is with his arms and his biceps out to get past blockers, that's got to be painful, man. I mean, that's gonna be something. Now, we're gonna give Mike Tomlin some credit. He got the W. Okay. When is the league gonna start giving this man his credit as a coach?
He don't got it.
Not enough. You don't get it near enough. No.
I feel like he get credit though.
I think he's a top 5 coach. I think he's a top 5 coach in this league.
Hey, Josh, what year were you born?
For sure. What
year were you born, Josh?
I was born 98.
You was born 1998. The last time Pittsburgh didn't have a winning season, you were 5 years old.
Yeah.
Most of your life. I think he's a top coach in the league. I think that.
Well, Tony, my son is 17. I don't think he's ever had a losing season. I don't think Pittsburgh has had a losing season. My son has been alive.
They haven't had a losing season since Facebook was created.
Yeah. Okay. Even better one. LeBron James's entire basketball career has had Facebook. He's the first NBA. He is the first NBA superstar where his whole career in the NBA was with Facebook.
Social media.
MySpace. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. MySpace. FaceSpace. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, somebody Josh's age wouldn't understand what MySpace is. I don't think he'd even get it.
No, I had
you had it. You was real young though, man. You must have been.
I had it though.
You had it? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, Josh, I know you don't remember. Josh, don't talk too much because your mom watching the show.
Hey,
we don't make out no secret.
Hey, Josh, you know what? Listen, just sitting around with your dad and, shooting the shit, your dad never mentioned that you're through him, you're related to Alan Page. Is that right?
I don't know, man. He believes that we are. It's a slight possibility that we are, but I don't think he's met him or like. I think he's like a great cousin.
Seriously? Okay.
Yeah. Wow. But like we got to do like more in-depth research on that.
You can do some research on that.
Yeah. Okay. But it's a strong possibility that we are related.
Okay.
But we know you related to Herb Adderley. We know that.
We know
for a
that.
fact.
Yeah, for sure.
We,
Hey
we
man,
know-
and shout out to Dr. Tony Adderley, Mom, aka Mom, for
AKA
always
Mom.
being. She's one of our biggest fans, and she's been with us since day one.
Hey, what I wanted to do, the reason why I wanted his grandma, Barb, to come on with her picture, because I wanted to show that Dallas Star necklace around her neck.
Wait a
That
minute.
thing is beautiful.
Herb
It's
said he
from
didn't
the
like Dallas.
1970s.
Why does Barb like Dallas? How does that work?
Hey, man.
We're gonna have to have
I
Barb
don't think she liked Dallas though. I think
she didn't like
No,
Dallas.
she don't like
Come on,
Dallas.
Tony.
She one of them.
It sounds like she liked Green Bay, man.
Yeah, she loved Green Bay.
She liked Green Bay.
They love Green Bay and Philly.
Yeah.
Now I've got to. That's why I asked that question, and a lot of people talk about this. Is what makes Green Bay special, right? Compared to these other larger markets. Okay, and I've always just wanted to know. You know, as a journalist, that's just a question that I needed to ask somebody that's actually lived there. Any fan that hasn't lived there can say, "Oh, Green Bay is this, Green Bay is that." Mrs. Adderley actually lived there, so I had to ask that question. You know, in general, the fact that she was at the Ice Bowl makes me a huge fan. I mean, ain't no way I could sit through that. And she did it when she was pregnant. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, 7 months pregnant. That's
7
crazy.
months pregnant, sitting at the Ice Bowl, and they got the W. They got the.
Dr. Adderley is lucky to be here, and Josh, you lucky to be here too because of that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's different.
Josh, they would have people in jail now. You see how things have changed in 50 years. If a woman's 7 months pregnant and minus 50 degrees,
Man,
they wouldn't let them outside.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
No, they wouldn't do that. Well, you know, in this day and age, if this happened right now, she'd be up in the owner's box. They'd have her up in the because back then there was no such thing as a club level.
Mm-hmm.
You just had seats.
Right.
There was the seats and the press box. That was it. You didn't have all of these creature comforts that we have now. You know,
all luxury.
all luxury. You know, I've seen them take some of the dignitaries around. I think it was at a game, and I saw it was a Chicago White Sox game. They brought in one of the Negro leaguers, and it was double duty Radcliffe, and he had to be at least 90 years old, and they had the cart for him. And they were driving him all through the facility and everything, drove him, and his granddaughter was with him because she took care of him. And they put him up in Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner's box at New Comiskey Park. And you know, he told him, just keep bringing me hot dogs. And they were like, you know, he's 90 years old. Can we bring him hot dogs? And she said, he's 90. He really doesn't have much time left. Just give him what he wants to eat. Right. He said he must eat like 6 hot dogs. Right. So this was that dignitary level, that VIP level of what you get. So Josh, we trying to get you to that level, but you already there, man. I need to get like you.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm blessed, man.
Very much so. I mean, you've had a heck of a summer into the fall. I mean, in terms of, getting to go to the Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame at Canton. Tony goes pretty much every summer. You go every time they're getting inducted. This year, there's a lot of people talking about how this class wasn't that great or whatever. I was happy to see Dick Vermeil go in. I was very happy to see that.
Vermeil, I feel like everybody else did too. Everybody else loved him too. He got a lot of love that weekend.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil literally looked like he had just come off the beach. Nice and tan, just looked relaxed. And us old school NFC East fans, we're not used to seeing Dick Vermeil relax because he's one of the most intense coaches that's probably ever coached. I mean, that guy was wound up tight. I mean, and perfect for Philly. He's a perfect coach for the Philadelphia Eagles and for the city. So, I was happy to see him get his Super Bowl. Granted, it was with the Rams. That's all good. But just the idea of seeing him out there, I was at a sports bar watching, and I said, man, Dick Vermeil out here chilling. He's just looking unbothered, Yeah. So are you going to be able to go next year, Josh? You're going to go check it out, or, maybe try to get up to Canton again, or?
Yeah, for sure. I think now that I've been, I think I would want to go back every year like Tony does. You know what I'm saying? Just to get that
good
continued experience and everything like that. So
Now your mom
need
goes
to.
too, right?
Yeah.
Your mom goes. Okay.
We
Now, what were her thoughts? And I mean, we could probably get Dr. Tony on the show, but what were your mom's thoughts, about the Michigan State experience?
Oh, she was very pleased. She was excited about the whole trip, getting down there, and I'm surprised that during the speech and everything, she ain't started to shed a little tear or something like that. She kept it together, but the whole weekend was amazing, man. Just from everything, like I said, the ceremony to the induction on the field to just like all the events they had set up and planned for us. Like it was special, man. So you can't leave something like that and not feel, like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but like
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, like overwhelmed or humbled, even in a sense,
Did you get to meet Roger Goodell? Did you get to meet the commish?
Yeah. In Cannon, we met Roger Goodell. Yep.
What's he like in person? I really want to interview him, but I'm trying to get a feel for the guy because we're trying to get him on the show. Just trying to get a little bigger. You know what I'm
saying? I didn't really have a deep conversation with Roger Goodell. I think my sister did, but when we went up to him and introduced ourselves, like, it was kind of the same reaction out of everybody. Like, as soon as we told him who our grandfather was, like, eyes open, like, oh, okay, how you doing? Nice to meet you. So it's like, wow. And then he talks about how special my grandfather was to the league, and like
very much so,
things of that nature. So he seemed pretty cool to me.
Excellent. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to interview the guy. I'm not going to throw any softballs at him, but it is what it is. He knows how the game is played, but it seems like when he's at these events, it seems like Roger's having a pretty decent time.
Yeah.
I saw a few smiles coming from Roger. Okay. I know it seems like, these guys, at the upper level of the NFL, they have to, uphold this image, but it seems like he had a good time, talking with the families, the players that were assembled, the Hall of Famers. And, that's what just makes the NFL great, man. I mean, and the NFL is one of the best marketed organizations in the world in terms of what they're able to do. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, CTE was supposed to shut the league down. It's supposed to stop everything. It hasn't. You know what I'm saying? They're going to deal with that. Then it was obviously, issues with dealing with women in the league, outside of the league, so on and so forth. That was supposed to shut the league down. That's not going to shut the league down. People are going to watch. People are going to go to the stadiums. People are going to pay those season ticket costs. People are going to buy NFL, red zone. People are going to get the prime ticket, all of that stuff. It just is, which makes me and Tony's life a little easier. People are going to watch. That's the thing. It's amazing. What I think would be really cool would be to get Josh back on the show. Josh, can we get you back during basketball season? Because my basketball fans say that we don't do enough basketball on the show. And I want to get a little more basketball on there from somebody that's actually played at that level. Because you played in college, and you played basketball, but Tony didn't. Tony did you got an offer for basketball, but you didn't play in college.
3 of them.
Wait. You got 3 offers for basketball? Who gave you the wait. Who gave you the offers? Little Sisters of the Poor?
It was New Mexico.
Okay.
It was New Mexico State.
Neil McCarthy.
And it was Towson.
Towson? You should have hooped at Towson. Come on, Tony. All the crab cakes you can eat.
And all my football offers, you crazy.
How many football offers you had? UVA, Virginia Tech, West Virginia.
All the football was all the D1 AA, but I had about 15 of the what we call the big conferences now. I guess about 12 to 15 of them. I used to tell my ex-wife, I was like, Tony, I said, Big Tony had all these scholarship offers, but his senior year, they were telling the recruiters were like, hey man, you need to take that SAT, man. You're like, what SAT? You took that joker, got in anyway, baby. You got it, boy. Mr. Tony.
Don't even
I,
mean
I
nothing now.
yeah, it don't mean nothing now.
It sure
Man,
don't.
listen, I took that daggone thing, Josh. I took it in my junior year, and I got the results. I'll never forget it. I got the results Labor Day Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It took that long.
No, Memorial Day. Memorial Day
Memorial
Monday.
Day. Okay, yeah.
Memorial Day Monday of my junior year, and I was done. I was like,
I hate the SAT, man. My son is
hate-
taking that mess. That joker was in there, Tony, 7:45 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon.
That's
yeah,
right.
I didn't even send him, Tony. I didn't even send him in there with no lunch. I know he was hungry. I know he was hungry.
You talking to 3 educated guys on here? Josh,
I'll
still
never
in
take
school.
that mess.
You went
Man,
to school. I went to school. Man,
I wouldn't
a
want
lot
no
of
one taking
crap.
that. Nah,
I like to tell
Tony,
people, if you're watching the show, a lot of the stuff in college is about you. Listen, all they want to do, the reason why they hire college graduates is because we learn how to put up with the bullshit that everybody else has.
Hey, Dr.
We learn
Tony.
how to put up with the crap. So we pay to go to school to learn how to put up with BS so that we can keep going and keep your job. Is that Dr. Adderley?
Dr. Adderley's on the show, everybody.
Hey,
Oh my God, Josh, you got a family affair out here, Josh.
Everybody joining in, man.
She got
no, that's great.
Jody in here too.
Y'all were talking about all that with the ice bowl, and he's like,
You lucky to be here, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, you made it.
You made it.
I made it.
And there go Jody.
Hey,
Dayton.
Jody.
Jody in his zone.
Jody is our Midwest guy. This is a Dayton guy. Our boy, Jody Coleman from the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's
Jody,
up?
your Browns got
what's
your
going on,
Browns
Josh?
got a
How you
W.
doing, Miss
What's
Adderley?
going on? What's going on, champ?
How y'all doing?
What's going
Hey.
on, man?
Hey,
It's a small world, Jody. It's a small world. I'm going through my TikTok, and I noticed a guy, who I'll keep beefing back with because he putting down stats. And so you know me, I'm Black Rain Man. So I'm getting in my feelings, and he putting up stats. I said, man, I got to call this dude right here. So I reached out to him. But when we get to the Hall of Fame, he's from Dayton, the same place that Josh's dad is from. So when I tell you it's a small world, folks, that
It's
couldn't
too
have happened
small.
if we tried to do that. I mean, that's crazy.
Hey, man, I've before we started doing the show, Tony, you brought Dr. Tony Adderley on the show, and I'd been smoking cigars with John like 10 years. I've known that guy for a long time. So, it is a small world. It's almost too small. I keep saying I got to get out of DC, but I just love it here too much, man. I just love my peoples. But it's crazy. Now, the way me and Tony met, Tony went to Virginia Tech. I went to UVA, but I knew a lot of football players. And he's like, oh, I know all those guys. He's like, and he does. He knows all of them dudes. Sean Moore, Herman, Tony Covington, guys that I was watching from the stands, and he's their boy. So, we all have those connections with each other, everybody. We should never lose them. But that's what makes this show so much fun for us to do is, getting Jody on the show gives it that Midwest feel. Now, Jody, you've had a chance to listen to the show, right? You've been listening?
I've been listening.
Okay. A lot of people here from the East Coast don't know a lot about Michigan State unless they're big college football or basketball fans, and understanding what the Midwest is and understanding what it meant for college football for a Herb Adderley to go from the East Coast and go to the Midwest, and how important that was, because he paved the way for a lot of guys to come to Michigan State. He and people like him, and not just from the football aspect, but obviously from helping found Omega Psi Phi on that campus, which obviously galvanizes a lot of Black men together. And at most predominantly white institutions, that Black Greek, connection that that you would have at those schools, it helps galvanize that social sphere for us Black folks. That's just how it is. I know UVA was very much similar to that. The Black Greeks, were very important to us. So talk to us a little bit about what that means to have that Midwest connection as far as Michigan State goes.
First and foremost, I got to say to Dr. Adley, you already know what type of respect I have for you. You know, just amazing human being that even trust and believe in me as well as Tony and Day. And Josh, you know, we got to kick. You know, I'm coming your way at the beginning of the year. So, you know, we're going to hang out again, man. Cool guy, man. I really was impressed with him, man, knowing what he was doing and you know, being with all those stars, and he belonged there, you know, just because his grandfather was great. But Michigan State is an institute that always let the African American into that university. Where I'm from in Dayton, there's so many people that's recruited from this area, and you go to any high school, high school basketball, football game, you're gonna see a Michigan State representative here. And I'm come from an inner city where it's, you know, predominantly black, and we have so many people. Javon Ringer went to Michigan State. He's from Dayton, Ohio. Adrian Payne, rest in peace. He a basketball player that went to a high school that I went to. He went to Michigan State. We had R.J. Williams from Dunbar High School, which your grandfather went to, and you know, so it's a lot of ties in Michigan State, because really, if you think back, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan, those schools didn't really give African Americans a chance like Michigan State did. So it's I went to an HBCU, and that's like the closest thing to an HBCU would have is Michigan State. So it's very prevalent in the Midwest, and it's an institute that always give a lot of young African Americans an opportunity.
Wow,
excellent. You know, I need to get myself up to East Lansing. Now, as far as football, I'm not as big on the history, you know, other than, you know, the Herb Adderleys or the Bubba Smiths of the world, right? But I would love to get up there and check it out. I've got a college tour coming up for my son, so maybe we'll get ourselves up to the Midwest and check out a Michigan State. You know, all the kids tend to want to go to a Michigan, you know, because that's the bigger name. But Michigan State, my son is in STEM, so he's going to major in mathematics or something like that. So maybe a place like Michigan State would be good for him, and we'll look into that. Now, he's lived in Chicago before, so he can handle the cold weather. He'll be all right. You know,
well,
I mean, I know a lot of these East Coast kids say they don't want to go to the Midwest because it's too cold, but you know, Bubba Smith said his first week on campus he slipped on some ice. He's from Beaumont, Texas. There's no such. The only ice you have in Beaumont, Texas, is what goes in your soda. Okay, it don't be on the ground, right?
Listen,
he said
Dave,
he fell on the ground and went right back in his dorm. He said, "I can't do this."
It gets extremely cold up here. My daughter's actually finishing up her master's degree at the University of Michigan, so I can't knock it too much. You know,
It's not that cold.
That's where your money's going.
It can't be that bad.
Hey, that's where all my money's going. But Michigan State, it's cold, but it's not undoable.
Right.
Like I said, it's a good institution. It has a lot of professional athletes came from Michigan State. You got Magic Johnson. I mean, do I need to go any further? Do I need to go any further than that? I mean,
the Magic Man. Come on now.
Everywhere.
We got Magic. We got Herb Adderley, the best shutdown corner in NFL history. I mean, do I need to keep going?
He's the man.
Michigan State represents, man. They T. Cleese, you know, Charlie Bell, Mo Peters.
Yeah, Charlie Bell. Yeah, that's right.
I got a guy I played against named Andre Hudson. He was on a championship team.
I remember Andre
Hudson.
He's from Dayton.
Hudson was good.
He's from Dayton. I played against him. He had a triple-double against me in my senior year and knocked us out the playoffs, so I ain't really too happy with him.
Oh, well.
Hudson was good.
Yeah, at least he was there. At least he was on the court.
Hey, we should have beat him, though. I had 21, so we should have beat him.
Hey, Doc, talk to us, Doc. You on the show now. Talk to us. How was your weekend?
Oh, man. The weekend was incredible. It was incredible. It was, none of us had been on the MSU campus before, so just to even walk the grounds where my dad was, you know, spent his college career was, it was a lot. And that he played on that field. They said they lowered the field down to add more seats, but that location was where he played. So we had one of my dad's friends from college just give us a tour around, just showing us the buildings that were there when they were there. And it was just a phenomenal. I'm like Josh. We thought that the Hall of Fame in Canton was special.
Mm-hmm.
Was unbelievable. Just the reception that we got
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
And as the daughter and the grands, I was a little bit like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna. I knew it would be nice,
Mm-hmm.
but just the reception that we received was crazy. And like Josh said, Mateen Cleaves, he bowed down. He came to me
Mm-hmm.
on the field and was like, I have to apologize. I didn't know that Dad was who he was, because they showed a film
Mm-hmm.
before they presented the plaque. And the film was, really got us a little choked up. But he was like, I mean, the room, you could hear a pin drop when they were showing the film, because a lot of the people, they just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
it was
yeah. It's amazing that that they did that, and like I was telling Josh earlier, seemed like it was very heartfelt, and I got a good vibe off the pictures that were coming through. And thanks, by the way, to Josh for sharing those, with us. I saw the first one. I was one of the first ones to comment. I said, "Oh man, they got Mateen Cleaves out this joint.
Yeah.
They
he came
They're
out for
bringing out the
Drake.
big time Spartans."
But look, pretty much everybody, like Shannon Brown was there. He played at
Oh
Michigan State.
man.
Wow, man.
It was a lot of guys. Jaren Jackson, he plays with the Grizzlies right now. He
Yeah.
was
Yeah, Jaron Jr. Yeah, that's right.
Denzel Valentine. So it was a lot of guys there.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, we're
yeah.
all Georgetown fans here. Growing up in the DC area, so he's always going to be Junior.
You
He didn't get to be Jaron. Jaron is our guy. He gets to be Junior.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, that's-
Josh.
It was just a cool experience, man. Like I said before, it was real cool.
That's
And
awesome.
Josh did a great job he did the speech. I didn't think I could do it. So he did a phenomenal job with his speech. So I have to put that out there too.
Ooh, I didn't
that's
know
awesome.
that, Josh. That's all right.
Putting that
Yeah,
mass
he's-
communications to work, buddy.
Yeah.
We got compliments from
For sure.
all kinds of folks out there.
Mhm.
So he did a great job. And one thing I put in the chat, that was the first shutout for Michigan State since 1957.
Yep.
So that's the year my dad entered Michigan State. So we thought that was kind of divine.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just big time college football is a business. It's what it is. But when Herb played, it was more of an elemental game. It was more of a pure game than unfortunately what we see now. But believe me, the package, what we see on TV now, people are watching. So whether it's the NFL, and we're talking about the Ice Bowl, where did they even have warmers on the sidelines back then, Tony? They did. I know Dallas didn't have any.
I want to say, if my mom was still on the call here, I believe she said they Lombardi cut them off.
That sounds like something Lombardi would do.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing dudes from Dallas just shivering, man. It just looked really sad out there. There wasn't, some of those guys, Tony, played with no gloves.
Hey, she told
They weren't playing with gloves on.
When I talked to her mom, she scared me just talking about putting trash bags on and being pregnant with Dr. Adderley. And I'm just saying to myself, man, how? I mean, I just wondered, like, what are you doing?
She had a fur coat on.
Man, I don't care how many fur coats you got. Minus 50 is minus 50.
Yeah.
For black folk too, that's real cold for black folk now. Come on now, we be crying at about 25. You talk about another 70-something degrees more? No, dog.
Our ancestors was living up in Nova Scotia playing something called hockey. I think we can survive anything, Tony.
Yeah, but we came down. We tropical folk. We don't do that. You don't see us up in Buffalo. That's why I told everybody, Minnesota, Buffalo, and them places. Y'all want to see me? Late September, early October.
Look,
after that, I ain't coming nowhere, man. I can't do that.
Hey, Tony, first week of tennis camp in DC, it's like June and July. You burn up out there. I said, man, I'm going to get on this swim team real quick. I ain't fooling around in that sun with y'all, man.
Hey, Tony, Dr. Adderley, I'm telling you, it was our pleasure, because what we want to do is we never know who sees this, because this is on 4 platforms. So when we start to speak from here on out of your dad, your granddad, we always want to say Herb Adderley, the original shutdown corner. So that can start getting in people's things. So when they hear, oh, Herb Adderley, the original shutdown corner. Because, see, it's up to us to keep the history. See, because people try to do it all the time. Y'all call it whitewash or whatever. No, when you don't know your history, come on now, you understand that. We got to push that. So, Dr. Adderley, as we get into it, we're thinking about Josh. So you guys getting the foundation. We're thinking about wanting to get an award named after him, best defensive back in the state or Philly or somewhere, so that we can keep his
really
name going.
Yeah,
you know, stuff like that keeps his name going. Because if it doesn't, you know what happens. Everybody gets comfortable in their life. The grandkids don't go to the thing. The kids don't go to the Hall of Fame, and then next thing you know, we lost.
Yeah,
and
well,
that's not
I don't see Josh and Justice missing any of these Hall of Fames anytime soon. It looked like it was too much fun.
They bet not.
Hey, can I add this too? For Dr. Adderley, I did another piece on your dad on my TikTok. He was a part of, and Josh, he's back on. I did a piece on the 1960 Green Bay Packers secondary with him, Willie Wood, and Bob Jeter. I think they're one of the top 3 cornerback secondaries in NFL history. It's not too many I will put ahead of them. And I've been digging, doing my research, and I seen that they had some shutdown corners, because Bob Jeter was pretty good himself too. And Willie Wood, the 8-time Pro Bowler, the 5-time All Pro, they had something special up there in Green Bay. So every time I think about it now, I think about you when I do these pieces, and Josh, and I just, I love writing about it now. It's just give me more reason to get back and write. I do this because I love it, and like I said, I appreciate you. I appreciate Justice as well. We all had a great time. So thank you.
Now, Jody, you're going to be going out to the Notre Dame and California game. You're going to cover that for us?
Yes, I am.
Excellent.
I'll be there.
Now, if you get a chance to talk to Marcus Freeman for us, try to get him on the show. Definitely enjoy that. But we are going to sign off. We went over a little bit, so we don't want to keep people. What's that?
Real quick, I know Marcus. I just got in contact with a guy that we had a mutual friends with, so I'm waiting on him to respond to see if we can get that exclusive with him.
Perfect.
So I'll have that information by tomorrow. So
perfect. Yeah. Well, you got a few days.
One more thing. It's September 12th. It's the reason why award is. Also, Jody is former military. We have to always acknowledge all the lives that have been lost in this century. I'm sure, Josh, you were just 3 years old when it happened. So, 9/11, today's 9/12. We want to make sure that we honor those people that were lost, from the terrorism that happened. So we want to honor those folks and just say, thank you. We want to dedicate this show not only to Herb Adderley, who's no longer here with us, but also to all the folks who are no longer here with us through senseless crap that we have to deal with daily. And another thing, folks, let's start some challenges out here. You got 4 black men on here. Let's start some challenges on here. But we're not going to argue with our black men. Let's stop going at each other. Let's start some challenges about lifting each other up. Let's start some challenges about not shooting each other, not going after each other. I mean, folks, you got everybody in the world wanting to come after us. Why are we coming after our own? I mean, we need to stop that crap. And this has nothing to do with anybody else. We're talking amongst ourselves here. We need to stop this stuff. It starts with us. We pass it down to Josh, and then Josh catching to the younger dudes that's coming on up. We need to start passing that down and start being real serious and real vocal about it, because it's getting out of hand right now, folks. It's getting out of hand. And there's a problem.
Absolutely. I agree with that sentiment. Now, on Thursday, we are going to talk about, we didn't get a chance to recap this first week. What we're going to do is next week, on Thursday, this week, We're going to recap the first week of the season. We're going to reset lineups, and we're going to talk about the Thursday game. We're going to get some picks. Josh, you can always jump in here if you want and throw some picks in there if you want to, anytime you want. All right?
Cool. I appreciate it.
But we definitely want to have you come on and talk a little basketball for us. So we'll be back in touch with you. I've got your number. Just in general, guys, on Thursday, we're going to be on at 7 o'clock. All right. So we can lead you into the Thursday night game. Okay. What's that, Tony?
He's muted.
He's muted.
Kansas City, San Diego. It's going to be a big time game.
That's a heck of a start.
Right there.
So
Yes, indeed.
don't worry.
Right there.
Join us 7 o'clock on Thursday. We'll lead you in. You will not miss any of the game. We'll get you to your game. Literally, as soon as they go to pregame, we're going to get off. So go ahead, Jody.
Browns did win. They did win.
You got your W.
One down. There you go. One down.
Congratulations.
Hey, Josh, I can't wait to come hang out with you guys.
Yes.
For sure, man. Can't wait to see you.
I'll be down there.
Hey, great show, Josh.
30th.
Thank you to Josh Page for joining us. Great show.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, babe. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate
Hey, Tony.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
All right, bro.
I'll hit you after the show.